Learn about cyber attacks. Different cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are malicious attempts to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to a computer system, network, or device. There are several types of cyber attacks, including malware attacks. These attacks involve the use of malicious software, such as viruses, trojans, and worms, to infect a computer system and cause harm. Phishing attacks. These attacks use fake emails or websites to trick people into revealing sensitive information, such as passwords and credit card numbers. Denial of service, DOS, attacks. These attacks overwhelm a website or network with traffic, making it unavailable to users. Man-in-the-middle, MIP, attacks. These attacks occur when an attacker intercepts and manipulates communication between two parties. SQL injection attacks. These attacks target databases and exploit vulnerabilities in SQL code to extract sensitive data or modify database contents. Cross-site scripting, XSS, attacks. These attacks inject malicious code into a legitimate website, allowing an attacker to steal information or control a user's session on the site. Ransomware attacks. These attacks encrypt a victim's data and demand a ransom payment to restore access. Social engineering attacks. These attacks rely on human interaction to trick people into revealing sensitive information or performing actions that compromise their security. Malware attacks. Malware attacks are a type of cyber attack that involve the use of malicious software, such as viruses, trojans, worms, and ransomware, to cause harm to computer systems, networks, and devices. The main goal of a malware attack is to infect a target system and spread to other systems on the network. Viruses. A virus is a type of malware that is designed to replicate itself and spread to other systems. Once a virus infects a system, it can cause various types of damage, such as altering or destroying data, stealing sensitive information, or using the infected system to launch further attacks. Trojans. A Trojan is a type of malware that disguises itself as a legitimate program. Once a Trojan infects a system, it can give an attacker control over the system or steal sensitive information. Trojans often spread through phishing emails or by being bundled with legitimate software. Worms. A worm is a type of malware that is designed to spread quickly from system to system without any user interaction. Unlike viruses, worms do not need to infect other files to spread. Instead, they exploit vulnerabilities in systems and networks to propagate. Ransomware. Ransomware is a type of malware that encrypts a victim's data and demands a ransom payment in exchange for the decryption key. Ransomware attacks can cause significant harm to businesses and individuals, as they may be unable to access their data without paying the ransom. Malware attacks can have serious consequences, including data loss, system downtime, and theft of sensitive information. To protect against malware attacks, it is important to regularly update software and operating systems, use antivirus software, and exercise caution when opening email attachments or clicking on links from unknown sources. Additionally, backing up data regularly can help to minimize the impact of a malware attack. Phishing attacks. Phishing attacks are a type of cyber attack that use fake emails, text messages, or websites to trick people into revealing sensitive information, such as passwords, credit card numbers, and other personal information. These attacks are designed to look like they come from a trusted source, such as a bank, an online retailer, or a government agency, in order to increase the chances of success. Email phishing. This type of phishing involves sending fake emails that appear to come from a trusted source, such as a bank, an online retailer, or a government agency. The email may contain a link to a fake website that looks like the real thing, or it may ask the recipient to enter sensitive information into a form. The information is then collected by the attacker and used for malicious purposes. SMS phishing, smishing. This type of phishing involves sending fake text messages that appear to come from a trusted source. The text message may contain a link to a fake website or ask the recipient to call a phone number, where they are asked to reveal sensitive information. Website phishing. This type of phishing involves creating a fake website that looks like the real thing. The fake website may ask the user to enter sensitive information, such as a username and password, or it may contain malicious code that infects the user's computer with malware. Phishing attacks can be very convincing, and even experienced users can fall for them. To protect against phishing attacks, it is important to be cautious when receiving emails or text messages from unknown sources, to look for signs of a fake website, such as a different URL or misspelled words, and to never enter sensitive information into a form on a website unless you are sure that it is legitimate. Additionally, using two-factor authentication, which requires a second form of identification in addition to a password, can help to protect against phishing attacks. Denial of service, DOS, attack. A denial of service, DOS, attack is a type of cyber attack that aims to disrupt the availability of a website, network, or device by overwhelming it with traffic. The goal of a DOS attack is to prevent legitimate users from accessing the targeted system, either by consuming its resources or by disrupting its normal functioning. Flooding attacks. This type of DOS attack involves overwhelming the target system with a large amount of traffic, making it unavailable to legitimate users. There are several types of flooding attacks, including network flooding, which floods a network with traffic, and application flooding, which targets a specific application or service. Distributed denial of service, DDoS, attacks. A DDoS attack involves using multiple systems to launch a coordinated attack against a target. The large amount of traffic generated by many systems can make it difficult for the target to defend against the attack, leading to a more effective disruption of service. Application-level attacks. These types of DOS attacks target specific applications or services, such as web servers, databases, or email servers. They can cause a partial or complete disruption of service, making it difficult or impossible for users to access the targeted application. DOS attacks can cause significant harm to organizations and individuals, leading to lost revenue, decreased productivity, and damage to reputation. To protect against DOS attacks, it is important to use firewalls, intrusion detection and prevention systems, and other security measures to detect and block malicious traffic. Additionally, organizations may use network traffic filtering and rate limiting to prevent large amounts of traffic from overwhelming their systems. It's also important to note that launching a DOS attack is illegal in many countries and can result in serious consequences, including fines and imprisonment. Man-in-the-middle, MIT, attacks. A man-in-the-middle, MIT, attack is a type of cyber attack in which an attacker intercepts communication between two parties and eavesdrops on the conversation, either to steal sensitive information or to alter the communication. In a MIT attack, the attacker sits between the two parties and acts as a relay, intercepting and potentially modifying the data that is being exchanged. Examples of MIT attacks include Wi-Fi eavesdropping. An attacker intercepts communication between a user's device and a Wi-Fi network, allowing the attacker to steal sensitive information such as passwords and credit card numbers. SSL stripping. An attacker intercepts an encrypted connection between a user and a website and removes the encryption, making the communication vulnerable to eavesdropping and tampering. ARP spoofing. An attacker intercepts communication by posing as a trusted device on a network and intercepting the communication between other devices. To protect against MIT attacks, it is important to use encrypted communication methods, such as SSL or TLS, to secure the transmission of sensitive information. Additionally, using network security measures, such as firewalls and intrusion detection systems, can help to detect and prevent MIT attacks. SQL injection attacks. SQL injection is a type of cyber attack in which an attacker inserts malicious code into a SQL database through a vulnerable web application. The attacker is able to manipulate the database by injecting malicious SQL commands, potentially gaining access to sensitive information such as passwords, credit card numbers, and other sensitive data. Examples of SQL injection attacks include data theft. An attacker gains access to sensitive information stored in a database, potentially stealing sensitive information such as credit card numbers and personal data. Data modification. an attacker is able to modify data stored in a database, potentially causing harm to the integrity of the information stored. Server compromise. An attacker is able to take control of the database server, potentially causing harm to the entire network or system. To prevent SQL injection attacks, it is important to use secure coding practices, such as using prepared statements and parameterized queries, to ensure that any user input is properly sanitized. Additionally, using database security measures, such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and encryption, can help to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive information. Cross-site scripting, XSS, attacks. Cross-site scripting, XSS, is a type of cyber attack in which an attacker injects malicious code into a web page, allowing the attacker to steal sensitive information from users who visit the page. XSS attacks can occur when a website or web application does not properly validate user input, allowing an attacker to inject malicious code into the page. Examples of XSS attacks include stealing sensitive information. An attacker is able to steal sensitive information such as passwords, credit card numbers, and other personal data from users who visit the infected web page. Redirecting users to malicious websites. An attacker is able to redirect users to malicious websites, potentially exposing them to further attacks or infecting their devices with malware. Altering website content. An attacker is able to alter the content of a web page, potentially causing harm to the reputation of the website or confusing users. To prevent XSS attacks, it is important to use secure coding practices, such as properly validating user input and using encoding and escaping functions, to ensure that any user input is properly sanitized. Additionally, using web application firewalls and intrusion detection systems can help to detect and prevent XSS attacks. Ransomware attacks. Ransomware is a type of cyber attack in which an attacker encrypts the victim's data and demands payment in exchange for the decryption key. The attacker is able to cause significant harm to the victim's data, making it inaccessible until the ransom is paid. Examples of ransomware attacks include encrypting sensitive data. An attacker encrypts sensitive data stored on the victim's devices, making it inaccessible until the ransom is paid. Disrupting operations. An attacker is able to disrupt operations by encrypting critical data or systems, potentially causing significant harm to the victim's business or personal life. To prevent ransomware attacks, it is important to use strong backup and recovery practices, such as regularly backing up data to a secure location, to ensure that data can be recovered in the event of an attack. Additionally, using endpoint security measures, such as antivirus software, can help to detect and prevent ransomware infections. Social engineering attacks. Social engineering is a type of cyber attack in which an attacker uses psychological manipulation to trick individuals into divulging sensitive information or performing actions that could harm themselves or their organization. Social engineering attacks can occur through various means, including phishing emails, phone calls, and in-person interactions. Examples of social engineering attacks include phishing attacks. An attacker sends a fake email or message posing as a trusted entity, tricking the victim into providing sensitive information or clicking on a malicious link. Baiting. An attacker leaves a malicious device, such as a USB drive, in a public place, tricking individuals into inserting the device into their computer, potentially exposing it to malware. Impersonation. An attacker poses as a trusted entity, such as a government official or technical support representative, tricking the victim into providing sensitive information or performing actions that could harm themselves or their organization. To prevent social engineering attacks, it is important to educate users about the dangers of these attacks and to encourage them to be cautious when receiving unsolicited emails, phone calls, or in-person interactions. Additionally, using security awareness training and simulated phishing attacks can help to raise awareness of these threats and to prepare users to recognize and defend against social engineering attacks.